Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Saturday, March 15th, maybe? Nah, 14th, that was close. Uh, 2026. It's a little after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I am in my safe, undisclosed location. There's the river is unfrozen now, so my view out the window is just like. That's so that's the view out that window. I clearly need to go take a shower. I am just gonna keep talking about my own real life, and because this is I'm not gonna like give up on this. Where is that one? Ow, piece of paper. Because I like at this point I submitted on March 10th a document that they should have just given me that goddamn cat. Like as soon as they got this, okay, they should have just given me the goddamn cat. Motion to dismiss. Please consider attached pages. Facts of the case are logically inconsistent. Witness claims to have given money and then witnessed me go into distress, violently shake a kitten, throw it on the ground, run into traffic to attack motorists in the report on 9/18/2025. Why was none of that mentioned on 9/11/2025? Why did she even call Weymouth? She sent $250 at 1:33 p.m. after talking to the sergeant. That makes no sense. That just makes no sense. That makes no sense. No sense at all. That's just, that timeline does not make sense. 12:41, call the police to say that she saw or sees, I don't know exactly, I don't know how to exactly, someone live in a park in Boston, okay? She sees a person live in a park in Boston abusing an animal, in her opinion. And then for some reason calls the Weymouth Police Department, okay? She called Weymouth from Brighton, or Alston, to give them links to a Facebook page. She saw someone abusing a cat live in Boston. And then called Weymouth to provide them with Facebook page links? Why didn't she call 911 if she saw someone abusing a cat in Boston? Why on earth would she call the town that person is from, where he's constantly bitching about being harassed by his neighbors, calling the police to send them to bother him in his own yard for talking to himself? It's just odd that a woman in Boston, like that's just so odd. Why would a woman in Boston who does not know me, like she didn't know me at all according to her report, she just didn't know me. How on earth would she know my name? How on earth would she know my Facebook page? Why on earth, if she saw the cat being abused live, would she take the time to figure out what my Facebook page was and then go through it to call Weymouth? That woman used the police to steal my cat from me. After I told her my neighbors have been harassing me, they call them and they just show up. Rather than call the Boston police, though, she called the Weymouth police. And then after talking to them, made a phone call to my best friend at 1:02 p.m. to talk to my best friend about me. She had already called the police in Weymouth saying she was afraid for the cat's safety. Why would she came back and then obviously talked to me because she called my best friend. And then like another 20 minutes after that is when she actually sent the money. I'm sorry, that just does not, her story is obviously false. And if she had watched me Violently shake a kitten. Parenthetically, they said very hard. That's very, parenthetically very hard. And then throw it on the ground in front of her. Like, I was there with her. I shook it. She gave me money. And I just started violently shaking my cat and throwing it. That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense. That's dumb. That is an obviously made up stupid story. And I have text message conversation between my best friend and that woman where she said, like, she asked if she could adopt the cat. I was hoping I could adopt her if that's okay or something like that. I was hoping like something, it had used the word adopting her, if that's okay. And she was told in no uncertain terms, no, he wants his cat back. And then when she just stopped responding, I reached out through Cash App because my best friend asked, is it okay to give Dylan your phone number? She said no. So they did not give it to me. And I already had her contact through fucking Cash App because she sent me the $250. So I just sent her $1 back so that I could send her a message that says I need my ESA back by Monday with my phone number. She, in her report, stated that I sent her that message. And then that I followed up with, I don't want to have to kill anyone today. That's not in my Cash App. Why would I send her another $1 to provide her with evidence that I'm threatening her? I didn't threaten the woman at any point in time. She heard me talk about my neighbors have been using the police to terrorize me, and I consistently refer to it as a misuse of public resources. They are misusing the police to terrorize a black person who has told them flat out that's what I believe is happening, is they are using the police to terrorize me. I put up a whole big sign on my front, on the front of our house in the access ramp that said a survivor of anti-black domestic terrorism lives here, and the neighbors are trying to chase me out. Like, they were not. It's not like they were unaware of what was happening, in my opinion. I got a text message that made me laugh, but anyway, it's not like they weren't aware that that is like my understanding of the situation. It got worse. It just kept being worse. They just kept doing it more. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a musician, and they called the police for me singing while doing yoga in my own yard. Just singing. That was one of the days that that was the first time I remember seeing a female officer show up. She offered my then partner, now best friend, a restraining order. Like, we can do the restraining order. And they don't want it. They want the neighbors to stop calling the police for me existing in our yard. The very first time that the police were called, I was literally just sitting on the fucking porch, talking to myself, not yelling. I had just been sitting there talking to myself for hours. They do not like homeless people. We have other homeless friends that go there to like hang out with her. They harass the shit out of them. Like, they're terrible people who, like, just want to terrorize and chase away anyone they don't like. I'm sorry I'm so traumatized from caring for abused children. And then after, like, I was too disabled to do that formally, going out into the world and just giving care to anyone who just looked like they were in distress that I saw. Usually it's homeless combat veterans. Like, they are misusing public resources to terrorize a black civil rights activist. That's what is happening. Because they were informed that is how I perceive it. They were told by the police at the very first, they heard the police yell back and forth with me. Because when they pulled up, they asked if they could come up and talk to me, and I said, no, you cannot. I do not want to talk to you. It's like, I'm sitting here, like, just talking to myself. I want to be left alone. No, you cannot come up here and talk to me. And you know what the police did? That very first wellness check to the house? They yelled from the sidewalk back and forth with me. Like, a bunch of the neighbors came out and witnessed this happen. They came out, witnessed me, yell back and forth. No, I do not want you on my porch. And they literally were like, we will just do the wellness check from the sidewalk at top volume. And yeah, the police officer that was like doing that wellness check, I yelled at him, like, I am allowed to use my outside voice when I am outside. Like, my voice gets really fucking big. Like it's distressing how big it gets. That first day, I was just sitting there quietly. The yelling and screaming didn't start really getting bad again until after that. Because I was just sitting there. And I think it was after that I had the nightmare where I woke up screaming in the yard. Like, I fell asleep inside of the house in a bed. I woke up in the yard screaming. And the dickhead who lives next door, who had his house on like my Franken house or whatever, yeah, that's like my partner, or my ex-partner, best friend, doesn't like know anything about their neighbors. They know that guy's house was on TV. They like to know the story of how the dog across the street got his name. Can't remember the fucking neighbors' names. Because they are not good neighbors. They're just not. But like, yeah, distracted again. Yeah, they came to the house, yelled back and forth with us. And then the pattern just got worse. It's ridiculous. And I can only hope that a long time ago they decided to like get involved with what I have been talking about doing. Because otherwise, yeah, no, they are straight up terrorists. Like, I'm sorry, leaving wooden crosses on a black civil rights activist lawn because they're doing their work, and then a full year later leaving a signed letter, taking responsibility for those crosses, that's terrorism. They're just blatantly doing terrorism in Weymouth, Massachusetts. At the very least, since I came home in May of 2023, it is now March of 2026, I have been being subjected to this that entire time. And then I go traveling, and because I have panic attacks in other places, and they do not understand what I'm saying. It's not that I'm gibbering or talking all over the place or delusion. They just don't understand what I am saying out loud. Even though I'm saying very clearly, I do not need to go to a hospital, and I'm just sitting there calmly. They fucking insist on sending me to hospitals. Which is, again, a huge part of why I'm so fucked up. So, right, I'm gonna go take a shower before I go to the FBI. That's where I'm at. I have all of the paperwork, and no one, like my own lawyer, we have a meeting on Monday. I'm sorry. I submitted an extremely clear, like, it's just point by point. Like, those three numbers, 1241, 102, 133, she obviously made that up. And they have no evidence to support the animal cruelty because they didn't get the cat medical care the day that supposedly happened. So, my hope is that, like, Weymouth was in on it, and they just caught Boston. Like, that's my hope. Because I'm sorry, like, I've been talking about, like, exposing the corruption in courthouses and exposing the corruption in police departments. It could not be more obvious from the facts of the case as presented by the police departments. Yeah. She talked to me, wanted my cat, heard my whole story about the police harassing me, and was just like, oh, I'll just do that then. I'll just do exactly what he told me has been happening to him. They'll think he's just crazy and irrational, and I'll get to keep the kitten. I told her in person, no, you cannot have her. What I was saying in the video was like, satire. Like, I make these fucked up, scary videos that are stuff like in the vein of A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift, I think was the author. Which was like, literally, he just like wrote, it was like a short story about, Irish people breeding themselves for food. That's really dark satire. I live in a nightmare hellscape that most like housed Americans, you have no idea what it's like to live outside, and you are torturing homeless people for existing near you. Like, you should be more than ashamed. Like, way more than just ashamed of your own behavior. If you think that, like, just the other woman that I know that they have like been bad to, according to her, she's actually got a violent history. I was diverted from that by the system. I became a mental health worker and went into the system. Like, my intention at 14, after a judge in the Quincy court sent me, I was a juvenile, I was a child in need of services. That was the thing they had in the 90s. And I got it was pretty sure that was the social worker. It was the social worker from DCS. I'm pretty sure. Listens to me talk for a very long time. And then went before the judge. And the only thing I remember her saying is, in my professional opinion, the safest place for this child is at home with her loving family. And when she said that, I was like, the fuck does this woman know about other places? Because I was begging to be removed from my family. Like, take me away from this woman. I'm going to kill her. I'm going to kill myself, or I'm going to kill her, or I'm going to kill like a bunch of other people, get me out of this house, after hearing everything I said that day. In her professional opinion, the safest place for me was at home with my loving family. The fuck does she know that I don't know? Like, that was my thought, was like, no, I was begging to go to residential. And if she thinks it's safer for me, and that's the thing, me, because there was an emphasis on this child, and when she said it, 30 years later, yeah, no, she was right. If I had gone into residential, I would have hurt people. I almost certainly would have, just based on like what I saw working in the residentials that I worked in when I worked in them. Yeah, no, I would have joined or formed a gang that actually hurt people. She was right. And now, because I have all that experience and all of the things, I can just, like, I can't fix all of it. But, like, I'm contributing to reducing the harm that is done in that system. And these neighbors are using that system to abuse and harass me. Like, I would not have gone to jail had it not been for that. I would not have spent 2 winters now in jail were it not for completely false bullshit. The first time I spent a winter in jail, my partners prepared to testify that, no, they committed perjury because they were more afraid of the police than they were of me, because they were not afraid of me. They are afraid of the police. The most recent, if that woman hadn't filed that false allegation, it wouldn't have violated my probation, which, just because she made a false allegation, that just automatically violates my probation. I was sent to a psych hospital at my request. I get out of the psych hospital, and then am taken to jail, and then sent to another psych hospital from the jail so they can evaluate me for dangerousness. I have been in, I don't know how many psych hospitals, and they're like, no, he's fine to leave. This process, they just drag it out and torture you. Instead of just acknowledge, she lied the day she made that accusation, and you can just see from the paperwork that she's lying. So, let's expose the corruption together. I gave you the olive branches and all of that. So, like, maybe I think this is a great idea. I'm not saying other people should do it. I'm not going to do it because my voice, yeah, they know me. But, maybe if I'm just pitching an idea here, okay? Just pitching an idea for like a weirdly supportive of the police protest action, right? This is just something you could do that would, like, minimal disruption to their lives and actually support them. So let me just, like, framing like that. If, like, maybe people were to call any local police department. I've been being bothered by people in Weymouth, Massachusetts, calling their police emergency line, which I just kind of off the top of my head happen to know is 781-335-1212. So when I need to think about something, I'll, like, call them and ask them a question. Maybe because they're a recorded line, so they'll have a record that that happened. Just think about that for a second. I call the police to talk to their recorded line when I just want to ask a question. Maybe if other people were to like call the police somewhere, right? Anywhere, just any place, and say like, just Dylan H. Randolph sends his regards. That's actually a pleasant thing to say. People like somebody uses a movie or something to make that threatening. No, no, no. That just means Dylan H. Randolph says hello. That's what that means. He just says hello. So maybe we can make that like a way to show the police we want you to be safe while you do your job. And also we want to acknowledge that no, we're not okay with this bullshit happening. Because the police would not. This is my belief, and maybe this is a social experiment we could all be participating in together. Maybe if people call the police department and just tell them Dylan H. Randolph sends his regards, and I also would just like you to be safer in your own job. The police are shooting people because they are afraid of getting shot. Like that self-defense, yeah, they are afraid that they're going to die, so they shoot first. So maybe if the public were willing to like support the police changing their own system for their own safety, maybe that would be like a good way to do a non-violent, non-disruptive, actually supportive and kind protest against the system that is oppressing absolutely all of us. Because if you just imagine that you were a police officer who just didn't know, like just give them the benefit of a doubt. They just don't know because they do not watch the news. They are not on Facebook. They are not on social media. A lot of the police officers I talk to just don't know. They just don't know, according to them, what people are saying about the police on social media. And I know how the news spins the police, and I know how the police want to see the police. One of the police officers I've been talking to about this, she literally said out loud, it's the whole damn orchard. And one bad apple spoils the bunch. The police officer offered up, no, it's the whole orchard. I've been driving back and forth across the U.S. People want reform. The police officers themselves are telling me I agree with the things you're saying. They cannot do it on their own. They can't. I'm already homeless. I'm already disabled. I'll do it for them. I'll just go do it for them. Because I genuinely care about the individual officers that I have met. I genuinely care about those human beings as human beings. Even when I flip out and cuss them out and yell at them, I care about their safety. And them being sent to me endangers their safety. If I ever decide I'm done with this, that won't happen. I want to protect the people. The police are people. And they do an incredibly difficult, dangerous, and important job to protect the communities that we all live in. Like, what we've done to ourselves as a country, and like every fucking civilization has some kind of police. We call it police now, but like we've always had the guard, the watch, whatever. We have to have people who are willing to just wander around and do like public safety and be sent to locations to manage conflicts and prevent. That's the thing, the police don't really prevent crime, they just catch people for it. Like, I just don't want people to get hurt. Like, what? Because, like, my whole younger life, like, into my 30s at least, any second now. No, I just figured out how to not do it. It's just neuro-linguistic programming and a lot of good rest. Because, like, after a while of just being so overwhelmed with the stress hormones, not hormones, the stress chemicals, whatever the chemicals are. I didn't study the biology of it very deeply. I was interested in observing the patterns of behavior and learning how to manipulate them for various reasons. Because, like, if if you are, yeah, people think the word manipulate is just automatically bad. There was one video I had recorded that I wish I still had, where there's just a point where I'm giggling and I'm laughing, I'm talking about how I talk and I talk and I talk, and then just, I don't know, I just burst into tears. I was like, maybe I should just go live in a cornfield in Indiana and never speak again. And then I just sobbed brokenly. I don't even know what to say anymore. I like all cops are bastards. Fuck the police. They're people trying to do like a very important job, and they are like they're being used as a tool of terrorism all over the United States, and they're ashamed to admit they know it, and they can't change it alone. So I would think, I'm still just thinking about an idea. I would think it'd be a good idea if all of a sudden police departments across the United States and maybe the world are just getting them Dylan H. Randolph sends his regards. He says hi. Because, yeah, hi guys, I'm trying to do something nonviolent that is minimally disruptive, and then they'll just have a ton of voice recordings from different Americans across the country, or maybe people across the world. We just fix it. We can just do paperwork, do really, like, all of the police officers go through just the nonviolent crisis prevention intervention trainings that I went through. I think the company was called NPI. Just do that much. Teach them all American Sign Language alphabet and see if that makes a difference. Because the police are being sent to interact with people who are afraid to speak to them. And then we get locked in hospitals because they don't understand what we are saying. People, like, do you know how difficult it is for most people to speak rationally when they're terrified? Like, if you were, like, absolutely terrified of the person who is talking to you, right? And it's not, and the thing at this point in my healing, I'm not terrified of the people. I'm afraid of their gun. The people, I can talk to them just fine. It's the gun. So, where was I before I started thinking about guns? So maybe if the people who are afraid that they are going to be shot by the police for not making any sense, I have perfectly calm, rational conversations with people all of the time where they have no idea what I am talking about because we were educated differently. Like, if I'm going to talk to you about moral absolutism and deontological arguments, and do you even know what those words mean? Have you ever heard the word deontological before? Does that sound like a gibberish made-up word to you? Proximo-distal development? Does that mean anything to you? I use words people don't, they've never heard the word before. And then they think I'm not making any sense, talking all over the place. You are less educated in everything I'm talking about than me. And they get to lock me up after I'm sitting calmly on the ground. And no, I'm just overtired and I want to, like, relax and then go to sleep. And the official report, delusional, talking all over the place, seeing things that were not there. Did I tell him I was seeing things? Or was I moving my eyes around? Like, just how many more details would you like me to point out? Oh, that's right. I have, just stacks of paperwork. And, what else do I have? Got me a little, home office. There's here in the corner. Got plenty of highlighters. and scads of time alone and angry. I just want to correct the paperwork so that I can play with my own cat. That is an emotional support animal that I was training to be a therapy cat. And they let her take my cat home. Didn't get her any medical attention until she was surrendered under blatantly false allegation. And then, and like blatantly false. I've been separated from my kitten for over 6 months due to a false allegation. Spent 2 months in jails and psych hospitals over a false allegation. That was a separate issue. Yeah, no, it was the cat thing led directly to the bomb threat charge, which is also an entirely fabricated allegation, which you can just tell from the fact that in the paperwork they said I was talking in the past tense and had no materials to build a poem with. And then they pointed out that I was talking about my religious beliefs. I mean, I'll just do the FBI's work for them and go drop the paperwork off. I'm seriously considering I'll just do that. I'll go through and highlight. I'll just use a highlighter, and I'll just go to the FBI and hand them the case. Ta-da! Because I submitted it's incredibly clear. The facts of the case are just completely logically inconsistent. I submitted that on March 10th. They just didn't respond. And, I want my goddamn cat. That is my cat. That was given to me as a gift from the earth herself. And I set her down and told her, you can choose to run back to the guy you were with, or you can come with me. Came and stood on my foot. The cat chose me. She chose me the first time I saw her. She walked over and put her paw on my paw. And then when I put her down on the ground, after we walked away from the man that gave her to me, walked away, and I explained to her that if you come with me, you will be my familiar, you will be my witch's familiar, blah, 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 and how the life we were going to live. And I walked away from her and just stood there and looked at her, and she walked over and she chose me. Her name is Freya, the Norse goddess of war. Artemis, Greek goddess of fertility. Gray feet, because she's the only one out of the 7 kittens I met that day who didn't look like she had white socks on her feet. I'm a barefoot person. Like, it's the amount of, like, just the religious aspect alone. I am a witch, and those words appeared in the bomb threat charge, trying to make it seem like I'm doing terrorism for a religious reason, perhaps. They're discriminating against me for my religious beliefs and falsifying, just completely making up accusations that just are demonstrably false, based on the fact that I called them and told them I wanted them to come talk to me in the first place. And then had no weapons and no chemicals, and the suspicious package was a donation of stuffed animals and books. Like, that's fucking pathetic. It's pathetic that they, like, really thought that was just gonna, like, that's just gonna, no. That, I just can prove, nope, that's just corruption. That is just corruption. My father is the only black elected anything the town of Braintree has ever had, and the police department in that town made a completely false bomb threat allegation based on what? Why did they do that? Why would they do that? Like, they were clearly there to respond for a mental health, like, distress call from the person that they then turn around and accused of a bomb threat. They accused me of making a bomb threat because I talked about it in the past. Talked about how I, like, wanted to do those things as a child. Because of the bullying that I experienced in the school we were standing out front of. I can only hope that they were going for the publicity that this better get. Because if this doesn't hit the news pretty soon, I gotta get the fuck out of this country. Because, yeah, I very well may go to a different country and apply for asylum as a refugee from the United States. A black, transgender, disabled refugee fleeing domestic terrorism from within the United States of America. Because that is reality. That's what's actually happening.